Hi guys, welcome. So I'm here today with my dear friend Christina. She actually is Riley and my mutual friend. But Christina and I went to UCLA together. Just like the moment I met Christina, she was such a kind and warm person, and I think we've met freshman year, like briefly. Like we had a lot of circles that kind of overlapped. Now that we've graduated, we've actually gotten closer. So she's just like one of those people that consistently been there, and like when she is there, she's just, whether she knows you really well or not, has like always just been so kind and loving, and so I really love that about her. She's also Riley and my, like I said, mutual friend. Riley, if you didn't see the last videos, is just like busy running the world.
Like killing it.
Yes. So we're gonna kind of change things up where she comes back for segments here and then, but in the meantime, I'm gonna keep this going with amazing people like Christina, who have so much insight and wisdom to share and get different perspectives. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Riley's still, she's alive still.
She's out there living her
She's
best
not
life.
hiding in the closet.
She pops out. Oh hey!
Hey, oh she's here. Also, we have a lot in common. She's also an actress. She's a dancer. I wish I could dance the way she did. And
moves, girl. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky originally, and I grew up dancing since I was 7. And then went to UCLA, which is where we first met, and then we both are actors and in the industry, and so it's been really cool. We have a lot in common. Of course, we're both Christian, and we connect on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be able to share kind of our journeys and like how we combine our spirituality in the industry that we're in.
Yeah, because it can be a very dark industry. Yeah. I feel like especially more recently, just like you keep meeting a lot of people that just have really good character.
I think like when you ground yourself in your spirituality and your connection with God, it helps you to attract those people.
Absolutely.
So then all of a sudden you're like, wow, there actually is so much light in this industry, and there's so many great people.
Right.
It's like having that mindset and staying grounded in it.
Absolutely. And having something to stay grounded in too, then helps you just show up and be there for other people. Because I think one thing that I always really appreciated about you, without even really knowing your beliefs or like your faith or your background, was that you are someone that has always encouraged genuinely and build other people up. Because I think, I mean, as women in general, society teaches us to like compete against each other, and then when you're in a highly competitive industry, it can be easy to be jealous or like try to knock someone else down, and you're someone that just genuinely is so excited and like celebrate with people. And I think having that faith to be grounded in it is what allows you to do that, because it's not about you then, it's about, you know, so
you're gonna die. So this morning I was praying, and the big concept that came up for me was competition. I mean, I feel the same way about you. It's like we support each other, and I see you supporting all of your friends in all capacities, but like when we realize through God that we're just, it's unconditional love, and we're all connected in this world, we're all connected. And so like when you can really focus on love and focus on supporting everyone. Like when, you know, we're on auditions and you're waiting and the people are on, everyone's nervous, being like, hey, like, you're gonna kill it, or like, you look so beautiful. Yeah. It's like, it cuts the competition, and that is what separates us from God.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like, in a weird way, then it comes back and blesses you, because when you focus on other people, you don't have time to be focusing on your nervousness and like, oh, I'm so nervous about this audition. A lot of times when you get out of yourself and you focus on other people, then you're like, the nerves go away. And yeah, that's so good what you said about like, you can't be connected to God without loving other people. Like, it literally says in the Bible, you can't love God without loving other people. And I think a lot of times, you know, like I try to have grace for people when I feel like they're not encouraging me or loving me in the way that they can, because if you don't have love for yourself, and if you don't have like a relationship with God, it's kind of hard to fill out into other people. Like if your cup is not full, you can't spill out into other people.
And that's also why I think like, which we both do, and it's like a journey of figuring out what works for you, but like having, especially as an artist, in the morning, your time where you're connecting with God, you're praying, you're meditating, to really like fill your cup up, so that when you go out the rest of the day, when you're auditioning, when you're working, whatever you're doing, you can really like spread that love.
Right, and you have that grounding. I find, because I'm not perfect at it, there's some times where I just have a really busy day and I like go, and don't really spend the intentional time I need to in the morning. I notice those days, I'll be like halfway through the day and I'll be like really frustrated and like getting irritated with people in traffic. And it's like really easy to get irritated in LA. But then I'm like, why am I getting so angry, Kirstin? And I realized like I didn't start my day right. And I'm operating from like an empty cup. So obviously I'm gonna feel like drained easier. Yeah. Walk us through your morning routine. I always love hearing people's morning routines.
Yes.
Yeah.
My morning is my favorite now. Like it's definitely been a journey, but now it's like, oh, I can't wait to wake up.
Yeah.
I drink my coffee and meditate and pray. So I'll get up and I'll, of course, get my latte. Yeah. And then I start out my morning and I'll do a meditation, like a fast breathing meditation to get my body warm. And then
what's like a fast breathing meditation? I'm so curious.
So fast breathing, it's like you do this really, it's like, but like,
it's like someone walks into the room, you're like hyperventilating.
Hyperventilating or like having a baby or something weird.
Hey, it's good practice.
I'm dead. Yeah, so I do that. It's like an 8-minute thing, but it tricks your body into thinking that you just worked out. So it gets the blood flowing and I feel more awake. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's so good. So I do that and then I will do like another meditation and then I start praying.
Okay.
And I'll do like a prayer and then I'll do like a journal and do like intentions, right? Intentions and what I'm grateful for. Yeah. And kind of that sets me up to be just like in a happy, like light, free-spirited kind of headspace.
That's awesome.
What about you?
I kind of have a similar routine. I wake up, I read, like I have a devotional that I read. So like I read that, it's pretty quick, like 5 minutes. Go to the gym, then I come back and shower, and then I'll do like my journaling and like praying and read like my reading for the day and like the Bible. So like, but I think I've noticed when I've done it the opposite. Like I get, without working out first, I'm like just like mentally foggy and I get like, I can't connect as much.
I'll work out after, but you're so right.
Yeah.
Like,
but like the fast breathing, the interesting thing is like that fast breathing like gets you kind of in that space.
Totally, and I think if you don't have time in the morning to work out or like you only have a few minutes, you do the breathing and you're like, okay, I got like a tiny little, like a little taste of
yeah. Like if I don't have time to work out, I live really close to Blue Bottle, so I'll like speed walk to Blue Bottle and I'll get my coffee and then I'll like speed walk back just to like get like the blood flowing. But there's this guy, his name's Robin Sharma, and he has a New York Times bestselling book. It's called The 5 a.m. Club.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Have you heard of it?
I haven't read it though.
I haven't read it, but I heard him on a podcast and it was really interesting. He's done like years of in-depth research talking to very successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and asking them about their morning routines. Yeah. And his whole theory is that like, and what they all have this like common ground of their morning routine, and they all get up early, and they all spend like, he breaks it into 20-minute like intervals. It's a 20-20-20 rule. So 20 minutes of like physical activity, getting your blood pumping, 20 minutes of some kind of meditation or prayer, and then 20 minutes of, oh my gosh, I forget the last 20 minutes.
Physical, mental.
Oh, and then 20 minutes of like something to work on your tangible skills, like bettering your mind, like whether you're like studying something for 20 minutes or reading like something to like sharpen up your craft. And that works really well for someone that has a classic 9-to-5 where they only have maybe an hour in the morning to do that. Like we're kind of lucky, like we have like a more flexible day, so sometimes I can spend more than 20 minutes working out and more than 20 minutes praying, those things. But I just think it's interesting because like no matter what you believe, I feel like there's this common thread of just having intentional space in the morning.
Totally.
And from a Christian standpoint, like even it talks about like Jesus got up early all the time to get up and pray. And like as his ministry grew and he got busier, he actually spent more time with God. And I think it's, the logical thing is to be like, well, I'm busier, I don't have time, I don't have as much time to pray, but I actually think the busier you get, the more overwhelmed you get, the more you have to kind of work through. Yeah. And so the more you need that time to really be filled up and have your cup be filled up so you can effectively spill into these new opportunities with love and not with like stress or anxiety, you know?
Totally, and I think that also life is constantly changing, especially for us, like our worlds, our day-to-days are like you never know.
Yeah.
So you have to relinquish control and just give it to God. But I think even with people who have 9-to-5s, you know, sometimes things happen and they shift jobs or whatever. Life's always changing, and so having something that you can hold on to that gives you structure, and that time in the morning to do kind of whatever your ritual is with God and with your meditation is so important. Like to keep a person grounded throughout life's freaking challenges.
Yes.
Life will kick you in the ass.
No matter what industry you're in. And I think that's so true. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish sometimes that I did have a 9-to-5 because there's so much structure, and like a lot of when I do feel anxiety, it's because things are in flux. But even that can change. Like people that have 9-to-5s are not like immune to changing and life circumstances changing. But like the thing that has given me peace, like as my spirituality has grown and my relationship with God has grown, is like the more I actually do have a structure in my day, when I can't control what auditions I'm gonna have, I can't control if I'm booking or working, but I can control that I'm happy because I'm spending that time and having that structure in my day. I think as human beings, like, we do need structure.
Totally.
So like finding those ways and those routines
that can't be taken away from you either, no matter what. One time, like probably a couple years ago when I was going through a hard time, I had a therapist tell me that. She was like, you have to create some sort of foundation for yourself that no one can take away from you. No person, no job, no nothing, because it's yours. And that's so important in a relationship with God. That's what it is.
I love that.
That's amazing.
So the other thing that I think is really important is like once you have that relationship with God and like your structure that like no one else can take away from you, then obviously we're created for a relationship, like we're meant to do life together. So then it's like operating from that place of like, I'm full, and now like I want to be really intentional about the community around me. And I know that you've had a similar journey to me just in terms of moving to LA. Did you know anyone when you moved here?
Did I know anyone? Nope.
Yeah, so like we both, I didn't know anyone either. Like I just like blindly went into UCLA, like here we are. And UCLA was such a blessing because it was an instant community.
Instant. Massive though.
Massive. So that's the other thing is like, it was instant community, but it also could have been passive, and some of my relationships there were a bit passive, I think. Whereas like once I graduated, I kind of had to take stock of like, okay, like I have these close friends from UCLA, and then I was out in the world and I had like my friends from acting, and then you're like in this place where for the first time you have to be very intentional. Like you don't have kind of that buffer of community.
People that just all around you that you can just
because even growing up, like you have your hometown, and you have your middle school friends, and you have your high school friends, and you have your college friends, and you're out in the world and you're like, okay, I'm here now. It's an opportunity to be super intentional about building community. So what has your experience been with building community, and how has it shaped your journey?
That's such a great question. I even wanted to talk about that too.
Good.
So I would say that like when we were at UCLA, I feel like I was kind of floundering around. Like I didn't really know who I was.
I was right there with you. We're here. We're in LA.
Los Angeles. Yeah. So I was like definitely kind of not sure who I was really. Like I thought I knew who I was, but you know, and you hang out with a lot of different people and just kind of going with the flow. And then I think that the past like 2 years since we've been out of school, really, it's been like that work on myself has then shifted my outer world. And so I've started to feel like I really love myself, and that in that sense, like I am more protective, I guess you could say. It just, as you said, like finding healthy boundaries, and when I like have these different friends, I'm like, do I want to invest time in these people? Are they really making a difference in my life? Like, are they adding value to my life? How do I feel after I hang out with them? Do I feel full? Do I feel drained? And that, I think, is like when we don't have much time off. Like people think like, oh yeah, we're just in LA, like taking Instagram photos and like chilling. Like, no, it's a freaking hustle. And I know this girl like works a million different jobs. Like it's producing, directing, acting, like you're doing so many things all the time.
You too though. It's
amazing. Self-tapes, like it's a struggle, but amazing struggle.
It's a blessing, but it just
it's there's not much time. So it's like when you do have time off, like you wanna feel filled, and you wanna feel inspired. And I think that's like the depth, for me, it's like depth. Like
right.
people I'm hanging out with, like I want to have deep conversations with. I like have so much fun, but also like, you know,
are they adding value?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not just like a casual, like, oh, we're like going to this bar and just whatever, talking about shallow stuff. Like I don't want to waste my time anymore talking about like drama or this or that. Not that like we did that a lot, but you can. I feel like as we grow, it's like you continue more and more to really be intentional about what your time looks like and what you're talking about and what you're doing.
Absolutely. Loving yourself then kind of informs like who you're hanging around, and it's like the decisions you make, the people you hang out with, I think is like a direct reflection of like your self-value. And sometimes it can feel selfish, like taking time for yourself or saying no to people. And
you get afraid. I struggle with this, like, because I definitely know I'm a people pleaser. Here we are. And it's like I'll start stressing. I can get anxiety, like, oh, my friends are gonna disappear, or like I'm not being there for them, so like I don't want to lose friends. But you realize that like the true deep connections, like they're always going to be there, and they understand what you're doing, and like they understand that you have to pour into yourself.
Absolutely. And it's like when you're setting those boundaries, it's because you're still operating from a place of love. You just gotta love yourself first. It's like you're not cutting these people out or not hanging out with them because of any like ill intent or any like malicious intentions. But anybody that takes it that way is clearly not in a place of being whole and like loving themselves or really wanting the best for you. So sometimes when you do set those boundaries, it makes you kind of aware of like who really is your true friend. And it gives people respect for you too. I mean, just from a professional standpoint, there's been times in my career where I've been afraid to say no to things. Like I had an audition like recently that I said no to because I just didn't feel comfortable with like what it required. And
of course, that's a whole other.
Yeah, and it's hard because it is a competitive industry, and last year was like pretty slow for me with auditions. So I was like kind of coming from this place of scarcity. Like once I started getting all these auditions this year, I was like so thankful for it, but I wanted to say yes to everything, and I felt like I hadn't reached that point in my career where I can say no to things. But then I really had to check in with myself, like my self-worth and like how I value myself is more important than any role. Like I'm not gonna like sell my soul for this role. So I said no, and I actually think it gained respect from you know, like my team. And we've talked about this before, like in our small group, but like your best testimony of your character and the way you live your life is sometimes more in what you say no to than what you're like saying yes to and what you're promoting. So I think it just gains respect.
Totally. It's like during the journey, there are the easy decisions or the decisions you maybe want to make, and then there's the harder decision that, or the choice that God wants you to make. That's on your most authentic path. And I think that whenever you make that harder decision, there's always a reward. There's always a blessing. And then that's like almost, in my experience, it's kind of God's way of being like, okay, here's a treat, like you're on the right path. And so whenever I make these really hard decisions, and I know I'm doing the right thing that God wants me to do, I'll feel like this sense of like kind of freeness afterwards, and then like something really big will happen. And it's like those moments, I think, are experiences that God's giving you to strengthen your faith. Because when you say no, you really do have to be operating out of a place of faith of like, if I really feel like God wants me to say no to this, and I also feel like He's called me to pursue this career, then I need to have faith that something bigger and better is coming. And like, I've seen it on Instagram before, this little girl, and she like has a teddy bear, like a small teddy bear in her hand, and she's like, but I really want it, I like really love it. And then God is like, has like a bigger teddy bear behind his back. And I think it's such a good visual representation because we're all just scared little kids, like, but I don't know, like the seems like God help me.
And then when I said, so that example I gave of like the thing I had to say no to, then the next week I got like the biggest audition of my life for like my dream role, and I was just like, it was again that direct reward of like, you made the right decision, here you go, you're on the right path, keep going.
It's incredible. And he does that. I think our career, like being in an industry where you're an artist, is like, it's like the true testament of faith and just blindly following. Like I know that God's gonna lead me and help me to create and inspire and be fulfilled, but I don't know what that looks like. And and to me, it's like being in this industry actually has grown my faith and created my faith in a way that nothing else ever could.
Absolutely.
And it's on the daily.
Yeah, and it's ironic because like Hollywood is known to be such like a dark place. A producer that I read his books, like look up to him, Devon Franklin. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. Yeah, but he like
follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, shout out to Devon. But he has this book called The Hollywood Commandments, and it talks about how like everyone in his community that he grew up with in church was like, you're going to go to Hollywood, that's like the devil's playground. But this whole book was about what he learned about God in Hollywood.
Oh my God,
and how
it's so amazing.
Yeah, it's just it's so good. Yeah. But I really do think like my faith has been honed and strengthened and developed by just pursuing this.
And look at you now. I mean, if you if you hadn't been in this industry and been following this path, maybe you wouldn't be right now doing these videos and actually like you're impacting so many people.
I paid her to say that, guys.
I was not paid for this advertisement.
But thank you for saying that. I mean,
I seriously mean it.
Yeah, I think that's important to realize too, that you know, I had on my heart from a young age, like acting was the thing. And yes, I'm still pursuing that, but I had to be open to other ways that like God maybe wanted to use me, including this and like including the producing thing and then those things have actually, like the producing thing has like opened up doors for acting. So it's like, I think sometimes it's so easy to get focused on like and have blinders on to the one place I'm gonna go. But throughout the journey, like God might lead you down other paths that you didn't think you're gonna go down. Have you found that? Because then there's been times where I'm like, well, if acting was what he wanted me to do, then like it would be really easy and like why aren't these doors opening? But I think sometimes those doors aren't opening because he wants to take you a different path to like down that path. Maybe you're going to develop some more character or learn other things that you're going to need, because each person's calling is unique. Even though we're both called to be actresses, my calling is going to be slightly different than yours. Like my purpose is going to be slightly different than yours. And so there are certain, like we're all so custom made and unique. We need to learn certain things that like maybe I need to learn different than you need to learn. Because we don't have the same
That's exactly what we were talking about earlier with like the competition and realizing that we're all connected and we all have these different skills and things that we're going to offer the world. But like in the end, we're all connected.
Totally.
And I think it's like, you're saying like, it's kind of like a maze.
Yeah.
And for me, it's been, I think a big thing for me, I've realized is like, wherever I am, like when I'm on set or I'm shooting something, which is the same thing. It's same thing. Yeah. It's like, I feel like I'm supposed to be there because I'm supposed to speak into other people's lives and like spread love and light. And I think that is another way that you can look at it in terms of when you do book something, it was meant for you or it wasn't. Right. And like you're supposed to, if you're on set, you are supposed to be there. Yeah. Whatever you're doing, you're meant to be there. Yeah. And you know that wherever you go, like you have such a light that impacts so many people. And so when you're on set, like, yes, your talent is incredible and you're supposed to be there because you are that role, but also it's bigger than that. Right. You know, we're impacting so many people. You don't even realize like the like PA, you talk to him, you like make him smile, and it's like that makes his day or like really shifts his life. Totally. So
and then that whole mindset frees you up because in an industry that is so like pressure cooking and like so high stakes, time bomb. I remember my first like big role that I had. And I was on
Lifetime movie.
Yeah, and
Lifetime
I was like,
movie.
I'm sitting on set and I'm like you feel, it's like the imposter syndrome where you feel like I'm not meant to be here and like they're gonna find out that I'm not good. Like how did I trick them to be? And then this really sweet guy who actually was like the editor, or he's beginning to be editing the film, so he was on the set. So he comes up to me, he's like, "You're doing such a good job." And he said, you know, like you're meant to be here. And he was like, they hired you because you're the role. Yeah. And like it's you. And I think one thing about producing that's helped me is it's helped me zoom out and see all pieces of the picture and see where you fit in and see like they hired you because they want you to come do a job. And like as a people pleaser, a lot of times you want to be pleasing like the directors and the producers, but actually what will please them is if you just go and you have confidence and embody that like I was hired to be a professional actor, just like they hired a professional lighting person. I'm here, I know what I'm doing. And also, it's bigger than the role. I'm here to just be a light. And so when you have that mindset, it's really not about the role. It frees you up to not be anxious about like, am I doing this right? And
it's
like,
so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And just like, as you said, it's not like all the pressure's on this one opportunity. It's just enjoying the experience.
Right.
And like just playing.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's like,
fun.
we get to play on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
And I just thought of this too. That guy, the editor who came and encouraged me, it wasn't about him being there to edit. It was about him encouraging people. And in that was such a pivotal moment for me in my career.
Yeah, exactly.
Like really inviting.
He probably doesn't even
know. But then like how many times have you done that to someone by being on set and you don't even know the way that you've inspired them? So like you said, it's all connected. And the more that you can realize that and like get out of your head, then the more it just becomes enjoyable.
It's so crazy. I was on set a couple months ago for this print job, and this girl, like, we started talking, we hit it off. This girl her name's Mimi. She's watching this. She's 20, like so deep, so spiritual, so incredible. And she just like start talking, and then she just gives me, at the end of the day, hands me this book. It's called Intuition. That was her book, and she wrote inside, she was like, I feel guided by God to give this to you.
Wow.
And I read the book, and like it changed my life.
Wow.
I needed everything in that book was what I needed right then in my life.
Wow.
And like that, so awesome. Just that one act of kindness shifted everything for me.
Yeah. And that's such a powerful testimony, because a lot of times you might feel nudged to do something, and to you it might feel insignificant. Like,
or
giving
like
this person this book, or feel weird. Like you don't want to
about it.
For me, like I never want to like shove it down people's throats.
Yeah, totally.
But a lot of times, like when you just you're coming from a place of love. It's not. Yeah. It's not that, and then you never know how it shifts someone.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's like when you feel guided, that like little voice that's like, you should do this for the person. Just doing it. And I think the more you just do it, the more it gets easier to do.
It's like a muscle. Yeah.
What was it? Sort of.
So I'm so grateful, Christina, for you being here today. You are such like a light. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, you're just so encouraging. You make the journey that we talked about that can be so hard, like you make it easier, and you do that for everyone. So thank you for doing that for me every day, and sharing that with everyone that's watching, hopefully. And thank you everyone who is watching and who has continued to watch.
Yes, thank you. And I'm so grateful for this amazing human in my life. Like, we've kind of reconnected after like knowing each other for a while, and like we're both in the same season. And it's such a blessing to get to know you and like grow together in like our creative world, spiritual world, and like social world.
If you guys have any questions, if you have any thoughts about what we talked about today, we'd love to hear your comments. Comment on YouTube or Instagram, wherever this is. And it always inspires us too to like inform what we're gonna be recording next time. So if you have any requests for future videos, for future guests, I'll let you know when Riley's coming back.
Yes, Riley!
It's a big question of the day. But thank you again so much, and thank you, Christina.
Yes, of course.